Welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris and I'm a gorilla in the wrist. Today we're looking at a horological icon and asking the question, can I think of anything new to say about it? Let's find out. So today we're looking at what can only really be described as an horological icon. I guess the story of the Casio DW5600 has been told plenty of times, so I'm not going to go through all of it with you. But essentially designed by a Japanese watchmaker who had lost an heirloom watch because it had been dropped and damaged. He set out to create a watch that's almost impossible to damage. And they've been making them ever since. In terms of the functionality, it is very, very basic, but it has everything that you really need. So let's very quickly run through it. So in terms of functionality, you have the day, the month, the date. You have hours, minutes, seconds. You can display this in 24-hour mode or 12-hour mode. It has a single alarm. It has a hourly chime as well, so you can set an hourly chime. It has a timer, a countdown timer. It has a stopwatch, functioning stopwatch. Just reset it. And it hasn't changed very much since it was first designed back in 1983. It comes on this incredibly robust resin case with a resin strap. You can, they're 16 millimeters, so you can undo them and you can put them on other things. I have to be honest and say, in my experience, they never look particularly good when you do, but you can. It's an option. The strap itself, whilst it looks a bit ungainly, is incredibly comfortable, incredibly wearable, and big. So let's be upfront about this. This is a watch for fellas with big wrists. That's my kind of watch, isn't it? Let's be honest about it. So I'm going to sling it on wrist so that you can see it on wrist. Bear with me. And there we have it. It is remarkably comfortable. How often do I show you a watch with a strap with 3 holes left when it's not pinching the living daylights out of my wrist? So wears well, and bizarrely, I never thought it would. It actually sits quite nicely under a collar as well. And I know this because my dad wore one at a funeral recently, and he was in formal garb, and it did not look out of place, which is quite an achievement for a digital watch, I think. So we're going to do a quick run through the basic specifications. So we have a dial width at 43 millimeters. I read 46 some places, but to me it's always 43. Lug to lug is a bit difficult to measure, but around 51, 52. Has 16 millimeter lug widths and a thickness of 12 millimeters. Has the 3229 module in it and weighs in at a paltry 52 grams. 200 meters of water resistance and an acrylic crystal you can always buff out. So I'm going to talk about the things that I dislike. Yeah, seriously. There isn't much that I dislike about this watch, and the fact that this is the second time round that I've bought it probably tells you that it must be a good watch. I don't really have any serious negatives. The only observation that I've really got is I've seen this on so many videos of people saying watches that you can get under $50, which in the UK is about the equivalent of £40. It's very rare in the UK to actually be able to pick these up for £40. I don't know if we're just getting screwed by our government on taxes or whatever it is. Very, very rare. This one did come along. I did spot this. I had to wait about 3 or 4 weeks for it to arrive because I think it came from the US. And I got this for £41. I think the previous one I had cost me about 53, 54. I just went and looked on Amazon. I couldn't find any in the UK for under 50 quid. So let's talk about things that I like about this. And I'll start with the obvious one, which is just, this is an incredibly easy watch to wear. It's very comfortable. It sits nicely on the wrist. It's just a joy. Since my second one turned up about 3 or 4 weeks, not much else has got a look in, to be honest. Regardless of environment, whether it's being out and about, whether I'm at work, whatever it is, this has been my day-to-day grab it and go watch, and it stays on my wrist all night because the backlight, let's just see if I can show the backlight is absolutely superb. There was no loom shot today because I wasn't sure there was much sense of me just sitting there pressing the button for anybody who wants to see it. So it is brilliant to wear. It's a great nighttime watch. It's light as anything. Really, really impressive. The second thing I like is really just the absolute simplicity. This has all the functionality that you would ever need and no more. We don't have gimmicky 5 alarms, world time in 300 different countries, any of those things on this. It just does exactly what you need it to do. It tells the time. It's a good stopwatch. It's a good timer. And some of the simplicity of the things it does as well. So as you move away from the home screen, you can always still tell what the time is because it's always up there in the box on the right-hand side. This is one of those watches that the functionality has been meticulously thought through. And there's a reason why they haven't bothered changing it in all that time. It's just because it does exactly what you need it to do. And then the final bit for me, I think, is just its absolute astounding robustness. And not only that, it has a track record for this. This isn't just me telling you. Go and watch 1,000 other videos on YouTube where they'll tell you exactly the same thing. This is a watch that will last you a very long time. The battery alone will last you a decade if you don't spend all day pressing the light button. The quality of the resin is really good. It does start to change. It does start to change colour a little bit after time. But there's a reason why they've never changed the design of this basic G-Shock Square. They don't need to. It has a timeless look to it. I'm not going to say elegant because I'm not sure it is elegant. But you know what it is. The second you see it, if you've anything to do with the watch or you've been in the hobby for any period of time, we have almost a Pavlovian response to this watch. That shape is very, very distinctive. We all know what it is. And even if you see it in silhouette, I think most of us can probably identify what it is. And so a lot going for this particular watch. There is a reason why I've bought it at least twice, and I'm sure I will buy it for others as well because they're just such superb watches. So I started this video off by musing about whether I would find anything original to say. Congratulations that you got to the end of the video, but I think what you probably have learned in the last 10 minutes or so is I had plenty to say about this watch. There are some products that have an iconic status that I don't think is really befitting them. But there are some that have earned their status over a long period of time. And it is well earned. And this is one of those things. This is one that it doesn't disappoint. I've heard it said about the Grand Canyon, it doesn't disappoint when you see it. And the Casio DW5600 is the Grand Canyon of watches. It just doesn't disappoint. It does everything that you need. It's a joy to wear. If there was ever a one watch collection for me personally, I could live with this watch. Drop me on a desert island with this and I'll be more than happy. It is an outstanding piece of horological history. And if you can get it for 40 quid, it's a bargain. To be honest with you, you get it for 80 quid, they're bargains. They are absolute timeless classics, and I've thoroughly enjoyed buying it a second time around. So that's it from me. It's a slightly grey afternoon, Saturday afternoon in the UK. Storm Bert, I don't know who names these things, whoever it is, please stop. Storm Bert is apparently blowing around us. I haven't seen much evidence of it. But for the rest of you, I hope you're warm and safe. We've got a ton of content. I've got an ever-growing backlog of videos that I need to do. So we are going to get into that. So I hope to see you again very, very soon. Enjoy the rest of your week. And in the meantime, have a fantastic weekend. Take care, peoples. Bye-bye.